Welcome into Bronco Nation Live. We've got a full slate of Boise State athletics to hit tonight. We have women's basketball, softball, gymnastics, and of course our main focus, Boise State men's basketball, as the Broncos push to peak heading into the Mountain West Conference tournament. Make sure you stick around because we want your takes on the breaking news today about the renewal of the Boise State-Idaho rivalry coming back in 2031. If you're watching on Bronco Nation Updates on YouTube, jump in the chat. Drop your comments, questions, and hot takes. We'll work them into the show. And with that, I'm Nick Wade, your host. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host from Sam Talk Sports, Sam Gillette. Sam, how are you doing tonight, man?
Oh, I'm doing about as well as anybody can do. Tough loss for the ladies last night. We'll get into that a little bit later. But I'm excited about the men's basketball game tomorrow night. One interesting thing to note is they now only have one more Quad 1 game on the horizon, and that's against Utah State. San Diego State did drop from Quad 1, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. I'd like to talk to y'all. We normally talk about this at the end of the show, but I think it needs to be kind of said at the beginning of the show where we have all the viewers just tuning in and everything. We want to be transparent with you on why we're pushing for views and subscribers and everything. It's no secret that we're trying to monetize the channel, and we need your help to do that, because once we get monetized, we're sending all of that to the NIL fund for Boise State. They're giving us the content to be able to talk to you about. It's only fitting that we give that right back into there. And that's been our goal since day one, is to fund Boise State's NIL with this channel. Right now, we need 281 more subs to get there. Minimum, we need 1,000. We're at 719. And we need 4,000 watch hours yearly. And right now, we're at 2,028. So even if you don't really want to watch the show, but you want to help Boise State, you want to help bring in the athletes and the coaches and everything to push Boise State to that national championship level, this is your way to do that free without having to open your wallet, give a credit card, or anything like that. It's 100% free to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Bronco Nation Updates, and it's 100% free to watch it any time of the week. We get those watch hours up. We get the subscribers up. We start making money on the channel, and we send that to the NIL fund at Boise State, and that's our main goal here. So, Nick, back to you.
Which, hearing about the limited hours that we put in, that just means that we get to pump out more content, right?
Yep.
That's fun. So yeah, if you guys can do us a favor and just become a subscriber, it's free. And like Sam said, all we want to do is help the school and live out our passion with Boise State sports.
I'm sorry, Nick, it froze. If you said something, I did not hear it.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I think it's my internet. I just
okay.
I switched over to my hotspot. So
okay. So why don't we jump into it?
Yep.
You go ahead and you lead off, my friend.
All right. So the track and field, they were at the Riverfront Invitational and Multis in Spokane, Washington. The women had a very successful meet between both men and women. Boise State recorded 15 top 5 finishes and 18 collegiate personal bests for the entire team. Gabby Haskamp finished second in the pentathlon with 3,402 points. Victoria Lotz won the weight throw and the shot put with throws of 18.25 meters and 15.20 meters, respectively. And is it Brasia or I'm not sure how you say it, but that's what it looks like. Yeah. Roberts, she got second in the 60-meter qualifying and third in the finals, running times of 7.55 seconds. Super fast. Faster than I could go in the qualifying and 7.59 in the finals. And then Priscilla Adu. Yeah. We're going to say Priscilla got fourth in the 200-meter with a collegiate personal best of 24.23. That's significant because it's 5th fastest time in the 200-meter in Boise State history. So we got some fast ladies out there. Nick, the men didn't have too bad of a go at it either. Why don't you give us a little rundown on the men?
Happy to do it, man. And Coach is doing a great job in revitalizing this program. In the men's section of track and field, you had Landon Helms. He wins the heptathlon with 5,776 points. That's a program record, and he was also honored Mountain West Conference Field Athlete of the Week. So great job, Landon. And then we had Tanner Nett. He won the shot put with a collegiate personal record of 17.76 meters. So awesome job. And then I'm really happy.
That's a very American length right there, 1776.
Yes. Yep. USA. But I'm so happy you gave me this block because I get to report that our man, Chase Lawyer, won both the 60-meter hurdle. He qualifying 7.292 with his PR and the final 7.95. So overall, Boise State recorded 15 top finishes and 18 collegiate PRs.
Yeah, it's the 15 is top 5 finishes. 15 top 5. I don't know why the 5 got left off of our notes there, but it did. But still, great run by our track and field over there in Spokane. I'm excited to see what they do next up. They've got actually split meets on the 13th tomorrow at the Don Kirby Invitational in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and at the Husky Classic in Seattle, Washington. It's going to be really fun to see how they compete in those ones as well. Women's tennis, they're 5-2 on the year right now. They beat Cal Poly back on the 6th, 4-3. It was their first win over Cal Poly. They're 1-2 against them now, all time. They also beat St. Mary 7-0 and on the 7th, and that was Coach Beck Roghar. Is that how you say it? Right. We're gonna go with that. Maybe we can get him on the show sometime. But He has now tied the program record for all-time head coach wins at 182. His next win, which unfortunately won't come till the 28th, they're on a long break here, and they'll be playing Gonzaga and Eastern Washington on the 28th. So hopefully one of those he'll be able to pick up that record-breaking win. Carla Grignac and Massa Variant, they both improved to 6-1 in singles play. And then Teresa Polakova and Zadina, I said this so well in my head, Safarova, moved to 3-0 as a pair in the doubles. And then the Broncos earned their second 7-0 sweep of the spring. That's enough about some little old Olympic sports, Nick. Softball off to a hot start. Them bats are really warming up. What's the softball going on? You had a coach on your show yesterday morning, I believe it was. And what's going on that side of the campus?
Yeah, first I want to shout out to Zadina. Great job. We follow you on Instagram and DM a lot. So awesome job. Keep it up. You're the best. Yeah, so in softball, we recently had Coach Schultz on Bronco Talk. We were able to kind of cover the offseason moves that happened. There's a high velocity of turnover with the roster and the coaching staff. So we got to dig into that a little bit, and also, talk about the cohesiveness of the new transfers and the new freshmen, and just with the little sample size that we got over the weekend. And speaking of the weekend, they had a strong start. So over the weekend, Boise State softball, they're fresh off a 4-2 fresh start off a huge week that included a win over number 14 Ole Miss. That is they hit the record books with that and defeating the highest ranked opponent in school history. And then they also had a dominant showing against Cal State Northridge. They were down in that game, and then all of a sudden in the top of the fifth, they just went nuts, and they broke a record for runs scored in an inning, about 16, I think. And everybody got a shot. Everybody got it at bat. Even freshman pitcher Lula, she got a couple times at bat. So and that's rare to get a pitcher at the plate. So so the story opening the week was the freshman pitching trio. Charlie Duran, she went 2-0 this weekend with a .66 ERA. She was honored Mountain West Conference co-freshman of the week. Then you had Cody Crabtree, who pitched another gem, and she finished the weekend 1-0 with a 2 ERA. And then Lula McNamara, she also went 1-0 with a 2.03 ERA, and they tied for first nationally in pitching appearances for Lula. And they all combined for 1.50 ERA over 28 innings. Incredible, man.
And didn't you say whenever we were previewing softball that it was going to be up to the pitching staff to bring us home this year?
Yeah, and they do have an upcoming. They do have the upcoming tournament, but let me just tell you a little bit about what they did. So they started the season off with the loss to Fullerton. Fullerton's a good team. They lost 5-6. They lost to Loyola Marymount 3-0, and then they came back and they defeated number 14 Ole Miss 3-2. That right there shows you how good that pitching was to limit the number 14 school to 2 runs, and
with a freshman pitcher at that.
Right, and they took it all the way to the 7th inning, and I was I couldn't watch it, but I was tracking it on my app, and I was on pins and needles just going, come on, hold on. And then I was able to see like the highlights afterwards, and awesome, man. And then they did lose the following game to Fullerton, which is the home team, 5-6. And then, like I said, they defeated Cal State Northridge 24-6. And that was an incredible comeback. And then after they came back, then they just poured it on. And then they came back. They had a doubleheader. They came back and they defeated Portland State 10-2. So they kept that offense going. That was Cody Crabtree's masterpiece there. And then they came back and they got revenge against Fullerton on Sunday. And Charlie Duran really pitched a good one there. So the Bats got hot late. 37 of 46 runs were scored in the fifth inning and beyond. They had ice in their veins. They scored 20 runs with 2 outs.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And like I said, just phenomenal work by those arms in the circle. Next up is they've got the tournament. Like I said, it starts tomorrow. It's the UC San Diego and San Diego tournament, and beautiful La Jolla. So it's going to be a really good road trip for him again. Stay warm, and we'll catch you right back here after this brief break.
Imagine being a walk-on athlete with big dreams but limited means. The Beyond Blue Scholarship, created by Boise State Hall of Fame legend Carl Kiever, supports impoverished athletes across all sports. With requirements like academic achievement and community service, Beyond Blue empowers students to succeed on and off the field. Help us turn determination into opportunity.
And we're back. Thanks for hanging on with us. Again, if you guys have any questions or comments, put them in the YouTube chat. Especially, we want to know what your takes are on the newly revived Boise State, Idaho State rivalry that's going to start back up in 2031. It was announced today. Some of the local guys are saying that this is a pivotal step in Jeremiah's tenure at Boise State. We want to know if you agree with them or not. So put your comments and your questions in the chat, and we will bring those up live towards the end of the show. And also, we'll be talking about the new Pac-12 schedule that was released yesterday, and just kind of go over that. And if you have any comments on that, put them in the chat, and just hang tight, and we're going to make our way through some more sports for you.
All right. So women's basketball, they're 19-6, 10-4 in the Mountain West Conference. Nick had a tough loss last night against Fresno State with the chance to get in second place. What went wrong in that game?
Yeah. For me, I think it was a little bit of time management. It just seems like in some of these games, and it finally caught up to them, that in the first half, I know that these teams on the women's side, they only get 4 timeouts, right? So they really got to use them wisely. And then also you got your challenge. And if that doesn't go right, then you lose a timeout there. But from just what I've watched this year, and kind of, Gordy's great. He's a legend. But sometimes I feel like I would like to see him utilize some of these timeouts earlier on in the first and second quarter, especially when the other team is on a roll, just to kind of put the nix on some of this, the momentum that some of these teams carry. Because, we saw it with Nevada. Nevada was doing the same thing, but he was able to outlast him at the end of the game. And, I get the strategy, but like sometimes, like last night, Boise State's loss to Fresno State told a very familiar story. Strong effort, moments of momentum, but scoring droughts that became costly. The box score backs it up. The Broncos shot 37.9 from the field and had stretches where the offense simply stalled. that's where, I think Coach P needs to use timeouts earlier to stop the opponent's runs before they snowball. 2 empty possessions, a quick 6-0 burst from an opponent. That's a moment to burn a timeout and settle the group, and then, reset, and then see if you can just break that momentum. So I think last night was one of those nights that probably could have benefited on at least taking a timeout. As we've talked in the past, when the 3 scorers are on, it's great. But when Maya Hansen or Libby Hutton also go into double figures, then it's pretty much a done deal. And last night we didn't see that. Libby Hutton only had 8 points, 5 rebounds, and Maya Hansen as well had like 6 points. But the big 3 combined for 50 of Boise State's 69 points, which is over 72% of the offense. You kind of want to get another piece into that to get over the hump. And some of these games, it's really needed when another team is really making them press and grind to win one of these games out.
Yeah. So the streak is over now. They got they got Wyoming coming up. What are you looking for in that game there?
Yeah. So for me, it takes that in-game pivot. I hope that if it continues, this trend happens, because we've seen this like 3 straight games where their opponent is streaking at the beginning of the first half and into the second half, but then the Broncos come back in the second half. I think we're in that point of this season where you really need to have a handle on the whole game, right? So for me, I think if Boise State's going to peak down the stretch, they're going to need that consistent 4th scorer, like I said. And my 2 candidates are Libby Hutton and Maya Hansen, like I said. Especially if Maya Hansen's in double figures, the chances are it's a lock for a win. I've seen it so many times over the last 4 years. Anyway, I think that's what's going to take. So one of them must evolve into that nightly 10 to 12 point contributor. So defenses can't load up on the big 3, and again make those timeout adjustments and make that 4th scoring option. Those are the keys, I think, are to unlocking this a game against Wyoming and going forward. So that, because they, as we've talked to Tatum and Danny and Maya, they always talk about they need to get to the tournament while they're peaking. Well, this was actually kind of a good game to where to lay a goose egg, right? They're on a 9-game win streak. They have plenty of time to go and make their way to that peak. And because we really need them to be peaking going into that Mountain West Conference, because it's really hard to win 3 games in a row. So get them going, get those keys that I think that will help them. And if they can do that, we may be crowning them, the champions of the Mountain West Conference as they exit.
Yeah. And of course, you have your standard. If you want to read up on Nick's standard on how he dictates when coaches need the axe, go to bronconationupdates.com and search the standard, and it'll pull it up. Really nice piece there. But part of the standard is championships every 5 years. Regular season championship took a setback, but it's still in sight. But if they don't win the tournament, the Mountain West Conference tournament, I don't see them being a tournament team, considering Colorado State's on one of the last 4 teams out in the latest bracketology, and Boise State only at 110 in the net in the latest net rankings. Do you think if they win out, they can get an at-large, or are they bound to the only way they're getting the NCAA tournament is to win the Mountain West tournament?
Well, you know what? I'm surprised that Colorado State's just there, because to me, for the women's bracket.
Colorado, not Colorado State.
Colorado.
If I said Colorado State, I misspoke.
Okay. No, for me, as far as women's basketball goes, it's generally, what the Mountain West is win the Mountain West tournament and you're in, unless you're a San Diego State. Sometimes, they have a really good reputation. So, but yeah, for me, it's, both teams, I think this year is, but it's like that with me for every year with the women's. It's just the way it is you need to win your Mountain West Conference tournament and you're in. That's it. As simple as that.
Yep. So the men, on the other hand, they really need to win. They're currently sitting 4.5 out in a tie with UNLV. Actually, I think UNLV actually owns the first head-to-head with the overtime loss, so we need to definitely win this one. But right now we're sitting 7-6 in conference, 15-9 overall, and had a pretty decent game against New Mexico at the pit. Didn't let them get revenge from whenever we beat them at the X. Dylan Andrews, career high 33 points, perfect 10 for 10 from free throw. Really, it was they tied the most 3-pointers at the pit by an opponent at 15 in that game, and they just absolutely put on a 3-point clinic until at the end of the game, whenever nothing was falling, when we were sitting there going, come on, just make one more. But Buchanan, he ended with 13 points and 6 rebounds. Peanut ended 16 points and 8 rebounds. And then Fielder had 18 and 5. But your player of the game was obviously Dylan Andrews, 33 points, shot 9 of 14 from the field, 50% from behind the arc, 100% from the charity stripe. And he was just doing it all last night, and he's really starting to get into that guy that we've always wanted him to be, that one that is going to make those clutch shots, going to make the baskets in the moment where they need to be made. And I'm really happy that that's coming on now, where it's getting towards the crunch time at the end of the year. Really needed to happen tomorrow night, right? Tomorrow night against UNLV. That game is at 8 o'clock Mountain Time on Fox Sports 1. And believe it or not, Boise State's projected to win this one 79.9% of the time on ESPN, and they are a 9.5-point favorite. So it's going to be a good game. Need to pack the X, make it happen, be loud, stay the whole game. And because we don't want, if Boise State has a lead, we don't want UNLV getting a chance to get back into it with a dead atmosphere. So go early, stay late, be loud. It's a Friday night, so you don't have work tomorrow anyway. The bars are open till 2. The game will be over by then. You'll be fine, I promise. But it's going to be a very evenly matched for a 9.5-point favorite. It's kind of weird for me. I mean, both teams, you look at the stats, they're right there, with the only real glaring difference is points allowed per game. Boise State giving up 74, which is kind of mind-boggling to me considering how many points they've been giving up here lately, that it's still only 74. And then UNLV's giving up 78 points a game on this one. So ball control is going to be really key too, as UNLV comes in with 8 steals per game versus Boise State's 5. So take care of the ball, score the points. Rebounding is virtually the same. Field goal percentage virtually the same. Points per game virtually the same. So take care of the ball and make your shots. And this one's, that's true in every game, but more so in this one if you want to come out on top of this one. But
I think one of the keys too is in that first game, Javen left the game. He got banged up. So
Yeah.
this game you got a healthy Javen. So would really benefit from the same kind of performance and production from last game. But what really I think will set us up over the top is we really need Andrew Meadow to be the Andrew Meadow that we know, and get more. When he gets more than 6 shots, Boise State's odds of winning are like 99.9%, which is crazy.
And he's been a whole lot of quiet lately. I don't think I remember the last game that he scored double digits. I mean, I'm sure it was within the last 2 weeks, but it's been one of those. He's still on the team and he's helping out and he's doing things. It just doesn't feel like it because he's not putting up the numbers that we're used to seeing.
Yeah. So for me, I think going on, they've won 6 to 7, right? And for me, I think what I would like to see is, Andrews and Fielder can carry the team, but the Broncos won't win 3 straight in Vegas without the consistent scoring of Andrew Meadow and Javen Buchanan. Buchanan showed it at New Mexico last week. Like I said, Meadow needs to find his offensive rhythm and become that additional 10-point threat that we all know that he can do. He can be. So I think if those 2 step forward, Boise State will become a true Mountain West Conference title threat and contender. So, as I've always said, as I've been saying, they're at home tomorrow and they're hosting the UNLV. The championship teams win their home games. So, and we saw the power of a crowd. We just talked about this last night in our show on bourbon, beer, and basketball. We talked about the undefeated Arizona Wildcats going into Kansas, Kansas auditorium, and their fans gave them that 6th man that they needed, and they were able to take down an undefeated Arizona team that a lot of us thought, we were questioning, will they even lose a game all year? So that is the power of the crowd. So let's give the Broncos that home court advantage so that they can, give the juice to, players like Andrew Meadow and Javen to step their game up and get all 4 of them in double figures. Hell, if Peanut can do what he's doing too, get all 5 of them in there, and we don't ever have to worry. We can just watch them just start peaking, and then you got 6 out of 8, and that's kind of how you want to go. They got that one goose egg. They went back to GCU, and they had that one goose egg, and they just kept on climbing. We want to support that as a fan base.
Yeah. And right now, Boise State is not on any of the bubble watches anywhere. San Diego State and New Mexico both appear on Lenardi's last 4 in, with Utah State being in. So the Mountain West 3-bid conference at this point. Of course, we do have the season sweep in New Mexico, and we're 54 in the net. So this could all change in the coming weeks. And like Nick said, bourbon, beer, and basketball, we're going to start diving into bubble stuff in the next week or so, next couple of weeks anyway. We'll dive heavy into the bubbles. But a couple other teams to note: USC's last 4 bye, Boise State almost upset them in the Maui Invitational, and then also North really nice as well. So they've got some, and of course St. Mary's at a 10 seed. Boise State beat St. Mary's, so they have some really good wins. They just need to win the ones that they're supposed to win, like against Grand Canyon, and and be able to go from there. But are they a tournament team? Right now, no, but that could change, especially if they run the tables. And like I said earlier, they've only got one more quad one win or quad one opportunity right now against Utah State. San Diego State has dropped to a quad two. So that one can still turn around and be a quad one by the time it's all said and done. But the other one that we were looking to monitor to see if they could probably get up into that quad one status was Colorado State. And that I just don't think they have it in them to be able to put together a run that would put them up there as a quad two, or a quad one. So they're going to likely stay a quad two, and they're really on the verge of getting outside of even quad two status and dropping down to a quad three. So Utah State is imperative. If Boise State is going to get an at-large, they're going to have to beat Utah State and not lose to anybody else. That's their only chance at an at-large, and even then, it's not guaranteed. So they may still have to make the tournament championship in order for that to happen and lose close.
Yeah, and winning in Logan, it's a tall order, man.
Why is it? What? Who are those fans in Logan? What are they? The what?
Yeah, they're good. They're good fans. I'll give them that. But they are dorky fans, man. They just,
I hear dork all the time, but for some reason, whenever you say it, it's different.
They went to the prom with their mom, that kind of stuff. They're homeschooled. And their mom still dresses them funny. So, but they're a good fan base, and they're great at collaborating. Just interested to see what kind of bulletin board they have in store for Boise State when they come in. They're always really good at razzing Coach Rice, and I'll give them that. They're really creative, and but beyond that, they're just a big dorky fan base, man. Them and their gloves and all that.
And they had a tough road in Wyoming too, so they may be locked in on Boise State so that they don't get that repeat. They almost lost to Wyoming. So gymnastics, though, they're 5-6. Let's shift gears a little bit, Nick. Kind of a disappointing quad this last weekend. What are some of the positives that came out of that, though?
Yeah. You generally want to see him, finish runner up or even take the thing, especially at home. But they did have a season high performance. Boise State Gymnastics posted a season high 195.350 at home. Again, finishing third in a tightly contested quad, putting together season highs in both the vault at 48.850 and bars at 48.975. Christina Shenikova, she posted a 9.875 on bars, winning her first career bars title. That's wild. She's such a good athlete that if that's her first, it's surprising. But and that gave Boise State its highest event score of the season. Other notables, Kylie Hamby, she posted a 9.850 on bars as well. Delaney Reeves, she posted a 9.800 on floor. And then Bella Della Rosa, fresh off of being the champion on the beam, and Maria Nero, they both had career high vault scores. So it's kind of great to see a lot of these athletes scoring high in events that you wouldn't expect them, that aren't really their strength, or maybe they are their strength, but they're just kind of it's coming out. But another thing too is we also saw freshman Sydney Sydney, I
Leach?
forget her. No, not. There's so many Sydneys. Anyway, she had the exhibition on the beam and she scored outstanding. So she's going to get an opportunity to maybe get a spot on get a spot on one of the events. Sorry, Sydney. I'll catch you up later in the description. I'm just drawing a blank. There's so many Sydneys. And anyway, the team is building momentum, but the real test arrives this Sunday at the Metroplex Challenge. Boise State is facing Auburn, North Carolina, and NC State, 3 Power 4 teams with deep 9.8 lineups. I think this will be the Broncos' toughest quad of the season. Sydney Whipple, yes. Props to you, Sydney, for scoring that awesome score on exhibition. Like I said, they use those expeditions to help them get into the lineup, and so really great to see her. We've been following her for quite a while since she committed to Boise State and seen her put in a lot of work. So great to see that being put to work and scoring really high. I'm sure that she's really proud of herself, and Bronco Nation's proud of her too. Thank you for the grace on my flubs here. I'm trying my best here. But again, they're going into what I think is probably their toughest quad. It's really cool how they've scheduled these. So they had a couple meets away, then they came for a couple homestand, and then now they're getting that cohesiveness and that gelling, and now they're going to go take on 3 good Power 4 lineups. So I think that they'll need to the same hit percentage that they've showed at home. But they must stay clean on the vault. That is their strength. The vault has been their strength. They're nationally ranked higher in the vault. So and only 5 routines, they got to stay clean if they want to really contend with these teams. If they do that, I think they can absolutely hang with the Power 4 lineups, man.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but the scoring of last weekend seemed a little sus to me. I may be a homer, though.
It did. Right there at the end, you're thinking that they're in runner-up, and then some of those scores on the floor, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
And some of those San Jose State scores, those kind of I seen them not stick a lot, and they got scores better than the people that were sticking it. So
true. I almost think that it's kind of a recency bias on with the judges with them, because they're a ranked team. They are. Yeah. They got a lot going for them. So perhaps that was what was in the mix, man.
Yeah. It couldn't possibly be that Boise State's leaving and San Jose State's staying, though, right?
Could be. I better get my tinfoil hat on, man.
Right.
Well, we'll be right back. Just hang on tight. Put your comments in the YouTube chat because we are getting to the Boise State-Idaho rivalry real soon.
Hungry for homemade comfort? Plaza Inn Restaurant in Ontario, Oregon serves up fresh breads, pastries, soups, and hearty meals made with love. Jason and Selena Jungling welcome you to dine in or carry out. Taste tradition, savor flavor. Plaza Inn is your home away from home. Call 5418-893-550 or visit plazainrestaurant.com. That's 541-889-3550.
That was loud. Yeah, that was loud.
we got to get Bry back on here to do esports, but since he's not here, I guess we'll just do it with you, okay?
I'm not the same, but hey, It'll work out. He's trying to get his work schedule put around to where he can be on these live, and we'll get him on with recorded stuff as he comes available. I know he's got a lot of family stuff going on right now that is pulling him in different directions. So, but we'll get him back. He'll be here eventually. Real quick, Boise State this week, really, really dominant on the esports front. They have not lost a game, believe it or not. They haven't even let the other team score a point or get a match point, I should say. They beat Baylor in Kansas back on the 5th while we were doing this show last week. Both of them beat them 2-0 in Super Smash Brothers, which is great to see the Super Smash Brothers taking off like that. It's probably the weakest event Boise State's ever been a part of. So for them to be start to get some of that dominance in there, it's really good. Rocket League beat Kansas 3-0 on Monday. We had Woozy on the show last week. Go check it out if you want to kind of get a glimpse into a Rocket League athlete. And then Overwatch played Kansas and San Jose State yesterday. They beat Kansas 3-0. They beat San Jose State 3-0. And then, or excuse me, on Tuesday, not yesterday. And then yesterday they whooped up on Kansas in Valorant 2-0. And they are actually on their way over to Hawaii, I think, either now or tomorrow. I know that they're going to Hawaii for the Hawaii Invitational. Esports Invitational. They'll be up there. So pay attention to YouTube and Twitch. Go to YouTube for the same reasons that we want you to be on our YouTube. Esports wants you to be on their YouTube the same. Subscribe, comment, like, watch, share on both YouTube channels whenever they're live, and really support the esports program. They're doing great work. They're going to be national title contenders in just about every event they enter into. They're going to be PEC contenders and Mountain West. They're probably the best team outside of San Jose State. San Jose State's probably the best Smash Brothers team in the Mountain West Conference, but everywhere else it's not even close. Boise State's rocking it there. So with that being said, we had some really good football news that came out today, Nick, or this week. Would you like to go into that?
Yeah. So yesterday we saw the Pac-12 came out with the conference schedules, basically telling that, hey, conference, here's your home and here's your away games and here's your flex game. So I think that the Pac-12 conference is coming out on top, being innovative with this flex game. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that they have Boise State at Utah State with a flex game for right now. I really hope that they do 1 versus 2 and 3 versus 4, especially if there's any chance of having anybody in the CFP from the Pac-12. Because I think if you leave it at Utah State and they're mid to bottom of the pack, they're not going to provide any kind of metric for pushing into the CFP. Yeah, you run the risk of, okay, well, they might knock off our guy, our best chance, but if they're going to knock off your best chance, do you really want them going to the CFP to embarrass the league when they're trying to gain P4 or P5 status? So it really, it's upsides and downsides. I really hope that they don't go, okay, well, we'll do 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3, and then everybody else after that. I think it needs to be big on big, even if it is going to end up being a rematch of the conference championship. But they may go 1 versus 3 and 2 versus 4 just so they don't get a conference championship rematch. So it's, I don't know. I think the intentions are good, and it'll work. It'll do its job until we add that next football member. but it could end up hurting more than it helps.
Am I understanding correctly that they are able to kind of manipulate that to give the best matchup to bolster the best team in the conference, giving them a better leg up, and getting that berth into the playoff. Is that correct?
Yeah, to my understanding, my only concern is if, let's say, Boise State and just pull, let's go Boise State and Washington State. Washington State probably have a decent football team anyway. Maybe even San Diego State, but let's go Boise State, Washington State. They're 1-2 in the conference. Then you go and you play the flex week and you say, all right, let's put Boise State and Washington State. Well, they're already going to be playing in the conference championship the following week. Do you want them to have played regular season conference game, regular season flex non-conference game, and conference championship game? Or do you want to put a Boise State and a San Diego State in that flex if San Diego State's third or fourth, but not have the second team in the conference playing your first team in the conference? So that's where the trade-off's kind of going to be iffy at that, because you just don't know which way they're going to go for giving you the best matchup to propel you. Are you going to have a one team playing each other 3 times, or are you going to put another rematch in there somewhere? So.
And I get that. I mean, but we have seen in the past with the old structure of Mountain West where we played like a Fresno State back-to-back like that, the last game of the season. And, as a fan, that's kind of sucks. But, I guess, and that could probably happen this way too. But even, but at least you're playing, I guess you would go back-to-back if you're playing 1 and 2 and they're going to be in the conference championship anyway. I guess it could determine who's hosting the conference championship on that flex game. That probably could be on the line that way. But I assume that they're good with this because we've kind of went through this before, right? And that old structure. And if 1 year, hopefully it's only 1 year, and we can bring on some good quality of additions to the Pac-12. I guess it could, glass half full. It's 1 year. Let's just kind of grit our way through this and see how this works out. And hopefully, no matter what happens, hopefully this boosts whoever comes out of the Pac-12 next season into the college football playoff. And I hope it's Boise State, but if it's not Boise State, I hope it's one of the members, because that will only help the conference and it'll help the recruiting other teams into the conference. But I hope that they can recruit somebody before that happens. And I hope nothing but success for all these teams in the conference. But it's kind of exciting. It's getting real now. Here's the schedule. Another cool thing about this Pac-12 conference is we will know the times of every single one of these games before the first kickoff.
Yeah.
And for me, that is awesome because there's no guessing on, okay, when's kickoff for this game? What do I got?
Right.
I need to schedule, especially for the people who are the people who travel and stuff. Now there's no question. You know what time the kickoff is going to be. And also with the TV deal, it sounds like every one of these games is going to be easily accessible, in all these different kinds of
And people are saying, "Oh, have fun on your CW TV channel and everything." Well, CW is in way more homes than ESPN Plus, and you don't have to pay for it. It's part of basic cable. People that want to watch Pac-12 football are going to know where to find it, and they're not going to have to pay anything extra to find it. So
yeah, I mean, it takes me back to when I was a kid, and I could just watch it on regular TV. And it was always on, and any any type of pizza place or restaurant. I mean, it is now, but it's the chances of it being on and across the nation are a lot higher because it's a lot more accessible.
Yep. Well, speaking of Boise State's schedule, the 2026 schedule was released. Nick, what do you what pops out the most to you on this one?
Well, for me, it's the beginning is heavy on the non-con. Still, I would still like to see us host a season opener. But to me, I think that the best opponent on our schedule is opening up the season at Oregon. That's going to be it's going to be a tough. That's going to be a tough one. We don't have Genty. It's going to be a big test.
Yeah, and we'll get to find out real quick if the coaches are serious about their quarterback competition, or if Matson's going to be the one going forward. So we'll be able to find out by the end of the first quarter if there's any improvement, if Matson is the starter come day one.
Yep, and then there's still that that dialogue that that's going to continue to follow Coach D and Maddox about winning these Power 4 teams. So that's still lingering there. So this is going to give them that opportunity to get the monkey off their back. I hope they could do it. The other thing that I see on this schedule that I like is I do like Memphis coming to visit us. I think that could be. I'd hope that the Pac-12 representatives would be in town. Because ultimately, I would love to see Memphis become a part of our conference.
They should make that game a bet. If Boise State wins, Memphis has to come over. If Boise State loses, Memphis has to come over.
I like that one. I like that. I like our odds.
and Jeff Jeter, if you're watching, last time Memphis and Boise State played, we bet a milkshake on it. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to link up enough to buy the milkshake. So double or nothing, and for the milkshake. So if you're watching, go for it. And we have a wow, I almost want to play the pop-off theme right now. Pop has chimed in via text message because he doesn't do the whole YouTube texting commenting deal, but he says beat Oregon, we go to the playoffs. And I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, I mean, if you do and you can take care of business down the road and take care of the conference,
Old
Pac-12
versus new Pac-12.
Yep. I want to make it 4-1.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's amazing that the geography, they haven't played more.
Yeah. But I think that there, in the beginning, there was a little bit of dodging. We've only had them, on the blue once, and we saw what happened there. That we had a big old brawl.
Yeah. Conference-wise, what conference game are you looking forward to next year?
Oh, I'm looking forward to the Washington State. That's got a tie-in with ex-Bronco Kirby Moore and Matt Miller. So that's going to be a tough game. They got to go to Pullman and play, and the Moores are very intelligent and they're very detail oriented. So I think that Kirby Moore is going to be very successful over there at Washington State. So I would look at that. And the other one that I have my eye on is Texas State coming into town.
I'm actually hoping that I'm hoping Texas State does decent and Boise State does good enough to where they are that flex, because then I'll get to go to the Texas State game being down here in Texas, since and I just noticed that Boise's flex game is an away game. So my scenario earlier of Washington and Boise State in that flex isn't going to work out, but it also kind of gives you pause, another thing to think about on that flex game. Would they change it to a home game for Boise State? Because I know the big deal was they don't want people going to the same venue twice, teams going to the same venue twice. So if that does end up being, let's pull that graphic back up here so people can follow along. If it does end up being a Washington and Boise State in the top 3 or whatever, however they want to work that out, would they switch that up and have Washington come to Boise? Or would they say, okay, no, we're just going to give you the next highest rank of your home opponents, which would be Utah State, Texas State, San Diego State, or Oregon State for Boise State? So that's kind of be something to look for. Would they switch the flex from an away to a home game if the better matchup was already played away?
And that'll play right into your cheer guide. It'll be something that you can follow along, and everybody can follow Sam because he does awesome cheer guides, and he'll let us know, like, who do we want to win so that we can get this flex game here, or away. What's the best opponent away? Stuff like that, because ultimately you want to continue to win. You want to win, and you want to be the best G6 school, even if you don't win the conference championship now because of the rule change.
Yep. Yeah. It's crazy how they did that. They got the Boise rule to prevent a P5 from getting a bye. Then you have the JMU rule to prevent 2 P5 schools from getting in. It's so ridiculous. Let's just keep moving the goalposts.
Yeah, we're used to that, my friend, aren't we?
Yep. So another huge matchup on the horizon, FCS powerhouse, recent powerhouse, I should say, versus an FBS mid-major powerhouse, coming back to the blue in September of 2031. Nick, how excited on a scale of 1 to awesome are you?
So, there's lots of people who are excited about this, and you can really tell the era of the fan, based on how excited they are, what they think about this, the Governor's Cup coming back. You can, the ones that are super pumped and think that this is like the, best thing since sliced bread, media, you can really tell that, they haven't been a fan for very long, or, they don't know the history of this game, right?
Right.
Me, it takes me back to being a kid in school when Idaho used to beat the crap out of Boise State, and I'd go to school, and all the, all the kids that had, parents that were alumni of Idaho State or Idaho, always snubbing down on us Boise State fans, and really, they're still kind of like that in the workplace. I can tell an Idaho grad when I see one. In the office, it's really easy to see. They think that their shit doesn't stink. It's just a way of life, man. So there's a little bit of mixed emotions. Personally, I think, I'm unbuckling the belt because it's, belt to ass time now. So, and Dickey made an agreement. They're going to pay Idaho $450,000 to come to the blue so that we can, unstrap the belt and put that to their ass, as we always do. Because we outgrew that time where, that smug fan base and the players and the people that running up the score on, a dying coach in Pokey Allen. We don't forget that, man. We don't forget that. And that's what kind of, that's why we'd like to see everybody's opinion or your take on this matchup. But when it comes down to like the dollars of it, I do think that if you're going to schedule an FCS team, you might as well bring in an Idaho team, even if it's Idaho or Idaho State. Keep the money here in state. I'm an Idaho native, so
and who knows, by
keeping that.
with all the conference realignment talks and everything, and all the drama in the WAC right now with Utah Valley leaving, Idaho. Of course, the WAC's not a football conference in the FBS anymore, but Idaho could find themselves at the FBS level by this time too. So they're no slouch in football anymore at the FCS level. They've been competing for playoffs every year in recent memory. And Pop sends another text saying this will be the BSU's trap game every year, and I don't disagree. It's going to be like the especially this year, or depending on where they play it. If they play it ahead of a better opponent, it could definitely be that. But I'm not so sure that Idaho's not part of the FBS by the time this matchup rolls around, especially if North Dakota State has the success in the Mountain West and Idaho keeps progressing in the playoffs, maybe wins a couple national championships between now and then. Maybe they get an invite. So we'll just have to see how that plays out.
I was thinking along the same lines, Sam. 5 years from now, a lot can happen in 5 years. We've seen a lot happen with the Boise State team, going from the Big Sky to the WAC and then into the Mountain West. So, a lot can happen. And, if their current coach, continues to build on the program that Jason Eck started, it could happen. But yeah, I think, but I do think that you're kind of onto something. It could be a track game, but it also could be a nice, good warm up, because if they go into this game the right way of protecting the blue, it's an in-state thing, reminding our guys what they did to Pokey Allen. This could be a nice, swift ass kicking and a warm up for the next game.
I actually hope they put it during everybody's rivalry week, whenever the SECs are playing their cupcakes and all that, right there before rivalry week, I should say. Put it there in cupcake week.
Yeah. So if you're watching right now and you haven't put in your comment, go ahead and if you're watching the replay, put in your comment. Tell us what you think about this. This game, and also question for you, Sam. So,
yep.
I've been hearing over the airwaves of the local radio slaps. This is a pivotal moment in JD's career path at Boise State, bringing back this rivalry. What do you think it's a notch in the belt, or what do you think?
6 to 1/2 dozen the other. It's definitely for the older crowd that grew up watching Boise State versus Idaho. They're going to have obviously the most excitement. The younger crowd or the newer fans, I should say, that didn't grow up with it and were glad to see it go because it was an FCS team. We beat them every year. That's not the same Idaho team then as what it is now. They are better now than what it was when we ended the rivalry with them, but they'll come around, I think. And as far as being a notch in the belt, it depends on how successful the rivalry becomes. If it's one of those deals where everybody just tunes out of it, no one cares about it, and it just falls flat on its face, then it won't amount to anything. But if it's something that gets the fan base riled up, and it won't ever be as big as the Ohio States and Michigan rivalries. But if it gets the fan base riled up and something for them to look forward to a week of the season, say this is the week, whether we're 0-10 or 10-0, we're going to this game like we're in a national championship. That's what this game needs to represent if it's going to be deemed successful.
Yeah, and I think I don't necessarily think it's like a highlight, because I think that he's going to do greater things than this. That's just coming from somebody who's been through this rivalry and where it's at now in reality. but I do think it is a win for Idaho. I think it's a win for both presidents in keeping Idaho dollars in Idaho. I think it's going to be a great event. It's gonna pack. You could be. I can guarantee you that Albertson Stadium is going to be. Bronco Stadium will be overflowing because everybody in Idaho is going to be there in the mecca of college football on the iconic blue.
Yep. All right. Well, speaking of events, Nick, you've got Blue Elevation. You've got your Bronco Christmas on the Blue. Happens in the fall or wintertime, I guess, not necessarily fall. You got anything lined up for the spring, a spring outreach event?
I don't have anything in concrete, but the goal is there, and just got to line up some schematics and, maybe some divine intervention too. So we're not close, but it's still, the plan is in the work. The work is in the plan. So as JD would say, but as soon as that comes out, I think it would be a great community event. And it all hinges on availability of, volunteers and staff and schematics like that. But I think the idea is a great idea. And like I said, I've hinted that, some of our track athletes are gonna love it. Love to get involved in that. So,
serving Bronco Nation, how can people, businesses join that and get their logos on player cards and stuff like that?
Yeah, if you're a small business, a young or any age of an entrepreneur, content creator, we'd love to partner with you. All you got to do is go to BroncoNationUpdates.com, and then on the top, you can click on Serving Bronco Nation. You can read through the information there. We want to network with you. We want to advertise for you. We do a really good job at reaching viewers. We reach about 2.2 million viewers a month. And just read through the plans, whatever works for you. We also, we can also work for you. So if you ever have any questions, send us a message at contact@blueelevation.org, and we'll work with you. We want to work with you and help you out so that it helps out the Boise State Broncos.
I'm gonna take a step back here real quick. Go back into Idaho. I missed this comment, and I'm sorry, JD Blackburn. He says, I love it. No, it won't be much of a game on paper, but I actually enjoyed when Idaho had some decent FBS teams. So we'll get that comment in there. Sorry I missed it earlier, JD. If you only saw my computer screen to put on one of these shows, you'd understand. All right. Well, that'll just about wrap up another week of this show, Nick. But Bourbon Beer and Basketball, we had our first show where we got to showcase how our draft picks were doing. If you don't know, Bourbon Beer and Basketball, every Wednesday night at 7:30 Mountain Time on right here on Bronco Nation Updates YouTube. We did a draft of the mid-majors, the non-P4 conferences, and we're going to use those in a point system to see who knows ball whenever it's not the P4 conferences. So really interesting stuff. We had our first show where we got to showcase what our conferences were doing. You can go look it up on this channel, Bourbon Beer and Basketball, right here on Bronco Nation Updates, and take a look at it. See, we had Coach Mahan on this week from South Carolina and AD over there for JL Mann High School. gave some really great insight for parents and athletes that are looking to make the jump into the NCAA. So really good information there if you want to, if you have kids that are looking to go to the next level. Check it out every Wednesday night, 7:30 Mountain Time 7:30 Central Time, 6:30 Mountain, right here, Bronco Nation updates, and on it'll be on the Sam Talk Sports Facebook page and X as well. And we look forward to seeing y'all there. Give us your basketball takes, and let us know how long Miami, Ohio is going to stay undefeated.
Yeah, I like the show. It's very informative. We do talk about Bronco basketball. When Josh drafted the Mountain West Conference, he gives some really good stats and insight on the conference. So be a great show to check out, and it'll help you when we do our BNU brackets for March Madness. So it's a great way. We're right at the right time to where you can get to know these teams that are going to go into the brackets. That's why we did the drafting of the lesser known leagues, so that we can learn about them as a panel, and then also the viewer can too, and that'll help you with your brackets. Really dug Coach Mahan, specifically because with G6s like Boise State, great insight on 3-star athletes going from high school into Division I, and it actually is useful information for not only basketball but also football and any sport, especially with the 3-star. Well, that wraps up today's episode of Bronco Nation Live. To all of our viewers, thank you for tuning in and supporting athletes, coaches, and stories that make Boise State special. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to follow the show, share the episode, stay connected as we continue bringing you deeper looks into the heart of Bronco athletics. For Sam and everyone here at Bronco Nation Live, I'm Nick Wade. We will see you next time. Go Broncos.
Blue Elevation elevating Bronco sports through fans like you. Every donation fuels Boise State athletics, scholarships, and community projects, helping student athletes reach championship levels. With over $13,000 raised, Blue Elevation is Boise State's #1 crowdsourcing outlet. Join the movement, elevate the Broncos, and make every gift count. Visit blueelevation.org to elevate Boise State to the next level.